Welcome to episode 184 of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. I'm your host and fellow student, Michelle Nelson, and together we'll learn the basics of home design and construction and demystify the building process so we can build stylish, quality dream homes with or without a general contractor. It's one thing to see small samples of countertops, tile, paint, and flooring in a showroom or retail space. But to see those design features displayed in new houses is so much more helpful. Not even full-sized samples such as doors, plumbing fixtures, and lighting fixtures have the same impact in a showroom or photo as they do up close and personal in real-life applications. That's why I take as many opportunities as I can to go to new homes around the country. I want to stay on the pulse of what's new and trending, and what design features seem to be here to stay for the foreseeable future. The ones that emerged several years ago but don't seem to be going anywhere, like linear fireplaces. I recently went to 2 parades of homes, one in Kansas City and one in the Memphis, Tennessee area. I visited about 30 different brand new houses, about 6 in Memphis and the rest in Kansas City. Many of the features that I saw we've talked about in other design trend episodes, but I think it's important to keep revisiting the topic of home design so we don't build and decorate a brand new home in a way that looks dated soon after we move in. Here are some of the top design elements that I saw in those parades of homes. Number 1, black, white, and/or wood cabinets. In contrast to several years ago, there were fewer all-white kitchens. Now, to be sure, white cabinets are still making a strong statement in kitchens and in bathrooms. But in kitchens, those white cabinets are usually mixed with black or wood cabinetry. Occasionally, I saw an all-white kitchen, but what was most often showcased was a mixture of white and some other finish. There were also a few kitchens that had all black cabinetry or all wood cabinets, but the mixture of cabinetry seems to be what's hot. And that's been the case for years. Mixing cabinet finishes in the kitchen is a design feature that seems to be here to stay. I also saw a few gray cabinets, but gray cabinets, they're less popular than they were several years ago. Occasionally, I found a blue or green island or cabinets, but not many. In the Vesta Parade of Homes in Memphis, there was a kitchen with bright blue cabinets throughout. It was a bright peacock blue, and it looked more interesting than it looked beautiful, kind of like couture fashion. If you're going to go with a strong color like that, be very sure that you love that color and that you've loved it for most of your life, because cabinetry is expensive and most people won't have the budget to change those brightly colored cabinets out on a whim. It may be better to add bright pops of color in the kitchen and bathrooms through accessories instead of through cabinetry. Or add brightly colored cabinets in a smaller area like a laundry room or powder room, so it's not such a big investment if you want to change them out or get them painted in a few years. Finally, there were several kitchens and bathrooms with all wood cabinets, but not the dark stain that used to be so popular years ago. Instead, the wood cabinetry I saw was light to medium brown in color, and sometimes it had a slight gray undertone. They're similar to what I'm seeing in wood floors. Not too dark, not too yellow, not too orange. Number 2, metals in silver tones or black. There were definitely still some warm metal cabinet pulls and faucets in matte brass or gold, but fewer than in past years. There was instead a predominance of nickel, chrome, stainless steel, and black metals. When warm metals were used, it was usually on cabinet hardware or lighting fixtures. I saw very few gold or brass faucets. There was also a newer warm metal finish that I saw in Memphis, and I liked it a lot. It was called champagne gold. I saw it first at the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show this past January. It's a golden color that's not quite as yellow as brass or matte gold. It really kind of is the color of champagne. You know how nickel is a silver metal that has a warm gold undertone? Well, champagne gold is a warm golden metal with a silver undertone. If you like the look of mixed metals, which is still a thing, by the way, mixing nickel and champagne gold would look beautiful together because they're on the same color spectrum. When I saw the champagne gold cabinet pulls, they stopped me in my tracks because the colors, it's different and it's really, really pretty. Matte black was the most prevalent metal choice for door hardware, but it was also often seen on faucets, especially bathroom faucets, and cabinet pulls and knobs too. There was also a rare house with clear lucite door and cabinet handles. Number 3, statement ceilings. Especially in main living areas, dining areas, and master bedrooms, vaulted ceilings and ceilings with special lighting or materials were a theme in new houses both in Memphis and Kansas City. Gone are old school tray ceilings with extensive molding. The feature ceilings seen in these new houses included lots of vaulted ceilings, with or without beams, and simple tray ceilings with inset shiplap or wood cladding. Sometimes the wood cladding was rustic and stained, and sometimes it was sleek and painted. The ceiling is often an overlooked place where you can add lots of visual interest and make a room feel special. Number 4, 3-tiered master closets. Most of the homes that I toured had 10-foot ceilings on the first floor and first floor master suites with large master closets. An interesting and practical change that I noticed in this year's parade homes was that most master closets had 3 tiers of hanging rods. In the past, it was common to see 2 tiers of rods with a top shelf and space above the shelf near the ceiling that could be used for storage boxes or stacks of off-season clothing. The space above that top shelf in a 9 or 10-foot tall closet is difficult for most people to access without a step stool. But what I saw this year was 3 tiers of hanging rods with the top rod going all the way up to the ceiling. Those top rods were connected to vertical pull-down rod handles that hang down low enough so that you can pull that top rod down to a level that's easy to access. There are also very expensive motorized rods that you can add near the ceiling, but those are mostly utilized by wheelchair-bound homeowners. I'll show you a picture of the vertical pull-down rods in the show notes if you've never seen them before. Adding 3 tiers of hanging rods to at least one wall of your closet will give you lots of extra easily accessible hanging space for shirts, blouses, pants, blazers, suits, and skirts. The rule of thumb is that 40 inches of hanging space is needed between rods for most average height people. This allows you to get 3 tiers of rods in a closet with ceilings that are 10 feet or 120 inches high. If you or your partner are more than 6 feet tall, you'll have longer than average suits, shirts, and pants, and you'll likely need a bit more hanging room than the standard 40 inches of vertical space between rods. If you're set on 10-foot ceilings, you could add 3 tiers of rods if you're tall, but know that there will be some vertical overlap between clothes, and that could get annoying. If you're tall and you have lots of clothes and you really want the 3 tiers of hanging space, you could always opt to raise the ceiling of your closet if there's not a room above it. This may seem like overkill, but if you want to maximize the hanging space in your closet, raising the closet ceiling is a not so expensive option that could give you lots more room. To be clear, most average height homeowners won't need to raise the closet ceiling height to add 3 tiers of rods. One more thing. You'll obviously need hanging space for longer clothing items such as dresses, tunics, long sweaters and coats, and long robes. So don't forget to add a longer hanging space for those items. Standard rod height for longer hanging items is 60 inches. This amount of vertical space leaves you ample room for floor-length dresses. Now, if you have 120-inch ceilings in your closet and want to maximize your hanging space, you could even add a shorter hanging space above that longer hanging space. Since you need just 60 inches of hanging space for longer clothing items, you still have 60 inches above that in the closet if you have 120-inch tall ceilings. You with me? So you could add a rod above that long hanging space if you want to maximize your hanging space in your closet. Number 5, 1 or 2 panel interior doors in white, black, or stained wood. What I didn't see much of was the standard 6-panel hollow core white interior doors that most builders put in spec homes, like the ones I have in my current house. The parade of homes had beautiful, sleek 1 or 2 panel doors, mostly in white and stained wood, but sometimes in black. There was a predominance of black hardware on doors, no matter what color the door was, but occasionally door handles and hinges were made of silver metals. Number 6, carpet in most bedrooms. Even most higher-end homes that had hardwoods throughout the main floor and master bedroom opted for carpeting in secondary bedrooms, media rooms, and bonus rooms. Number 7, wallpaper. Now, most of the walls in these new homes were painted in white or light shades of taupe, cream, and occasionally light gray. Gray walls, by the way, are much less popular this year than in years past. But several homes used graphic wallpaper in 1 or 2 spaces in the home, such as the powder room, bedroom, or office. Geometric or subtle abstract patterns in neutral colors was the theme for most wallpaper I saw. Don't think of wallpaper from the 70s and 80s with bold patterns and colors and images of fruit and roses and roosters. No, this wallpaper, while interesting, was more subtle and sophisticated. If you do want to go with a dramatic wallpaper, consider putting it in a less formal, less serious space like a powder room, laundry room, or mudroom. Number 8, simple or no window treatments. When window coverings were utilized, they were mostly in bedrooms and consisted of sleek Roman shades, simple neutral drapes, or blinds. Plantation shutters and heavy curtains were few and far between. Trim around windows was simple and less prominent too. Even some non-contemporary houses had trimless windows with drywall returns. If you don't know what drywall returns are, take a look at the show notes. Or listen to episode 109 called Crown Molding, Baseboards, and Other Interior Trim and Molding. Wainscoting in traditional and transitional homes is still around, and so are tall baseboards in almost every home. But simple, light, and airy were the themes for window trim and window treatments. Number 9, marble and quartz countertops. Quartz and marble are the leading choices for countertops. Quartz was the most popular choice this year. Just a couple of years ago, I didn't see much quartz in the South or Midwest, but quartz has now taken the lead, at least in the houses I toured. There were rare granite countertops, but mostly in bathrooms, not kitchens. Kitchen backsplashes were either white or neutral marble or ceramic tile, or quartz or marble slabs. So quartz is one of those features that emerged less than a decade ago, but seems to now be a staple in kitchens and bathrooms. And number 10, wrought iron stair railings. Interestingly, I didn't see a lot of traditional all-wood stair railings. Instead, most railings had a wood handrail and wrought iron balusters. Balusters are also called spindles. They're the prominent vertical components of the railing. Several years ago, all wood railings were the norm. This year's homes had many wrought iron balusters and simple designs, including sleek, unadorned, straight balusters. Well, hopefully this episode has helped you make some design decisions about your new house. Let's continue to talk about design features so our homes will look classic and current for many years to come. Thank you for joining me this week. I hope you'll be back next week for another episode of Build Your House Yourself University. BYHYU. Please remember that the purpose of this podcast is simply to educate and inform. It's not a substitute for professional advice. The information that you hear is based only on the opinions, research, and experiences of my guests and myself. That information might be incomplete, it's subject to change, and it may not apply to your project. In addition, building codes and requirements vary from region to region, so always consult a professional about specific recommendations for your home.